All right. So with TikTok and Xiaohongshu trending and discussions around the issues with Pinterest surfacing lately, I want to explore its impact on the art community in particular. I know the term late stage capitalism is a very spicy buzzword right now, but I have to address how specific economic trends lately are very, very deeply involved with these issues. So right now, you can see a very common trend for businesses to try to purchase other ones and consolidate while maximizing different ways to extract value and wealth from consumers while minimizing any and all resource expenditure. And AI seems to be at the forefront of that right now. This is obviously hurting the art industry and creative spaces in all sorts of ways, but I want to focus on social media platforms today. My frustrations with Pinterest, for example, stem even beyond the rampant AI-generated slop content and the very poor moderation that they have. I've even faced random arbitrary bans and punishments for content that I never uploaded myself, which highlights the platform's inability to manage itself while holding its users accountable for its flaws. Similar things can be said about YouTube and the AI-generated shorts on there, as well as even TikTok, where everyone is just promoting random products and creating content just so they can get a slice of the creator fund. But the fact that it's being threatened to be banned makes things even worse because it's not like other platforms like Instagram are doing any better. In my opinion, creating an oligopoly will only make it harder to make changes across the board. To summarize the broader issue here, I think online platforms are continuing to prioritize profit over meaningful user experiences. Monetization tends to fuel bot activity like spamming and even individual exploitation of algorithms as seen a lot on platforms like Instagram. They've even introduced a feature where you can remove followers that have been flagged as inactive or bots yourself. I hate to mention this website, but you can go to places like blackhatworld.com right now and see how people are discussing different ways to exploit various platforms to maximize their low-quality passive revenue sources through ads or shoutouts. I think it's necessary for giant platforms to take the hit in the beginning right now and focus on the user experience for real instead of having every single decision optimized on competing with other platforms where it feels like the actual user experience is just an afterthought. One very recent example is how Adam Mosseri, the CEO of Instagram, has just announced a new app called Edits, where the goal is to help creators edit their videos easily on their phones. But a lot of users have rightfully criticized this decision because CapCut, the most popular app for this purpose on the Apple App Store, was also hit by the TikTok ban and was temporarily unavailable for American users. So this obviously begs the question, was the release of Edits really something they wanted to do to improve the user experience? Or was it just another calculated opportunity to compete with yet another popular brand? What's the point of trying to do everything out there to compete while sacrificing what you do best? But again, competition isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think it would have been even worse if Instagram decided to buy CapCut, but the same result is had if CapCut gets banned from the American audience, because turns out half of the population of the United States uses TikTok. Creative industries everywhere have been focused on guaranteed returns lately, which has led to endless reboots and a lack of innovation that we're all complaining about just to satisfy investors. Technology like AI has the potential to empower smaller teams to create really awesome passion-driven projects at a completely new level. I still hold that belief, but it's really clear that unchecked greed mixed with that really stifles creativity across the board. Just the other day, I was looking for a background to use for a new character design I'm working on, and I knew there were a lot of amazing anime background artists that share their work on DeviantArt, so I went there to check and see if anyone had any of them on sale to purchase for reuse. I did find one, and I purchased it for $1.25. Now that should have already been a red flag, but I'm not really used to looking at backgrounds. Lo and behold, I show my progress after I try to fit it with my character in the background to a friend of mine who is a background artist, and they immediately call out a few things as looking very AI. And the moment I saw them, I felt like a complete idiot. And they ended up probably saving me from being canceled again if I had shared that. The point is that if I can be fooled by something that I'm not very familiar with at this point, imagine how many other artists can be fooled into using low quality AI slop with incorrect proportions and perspective in their work, especially when the person uploading it is trying to pass it off as an authentic hand-painted illustration. Different platforms like Xiaohongshu, translated to The Little Red Book in English, a Chinese app that's very similar to TikTok, show promise by fostering genuine engagement. I made an account there a few months before TikTok was banned. It was kind of difficult, by the way. It's not that easy. But I saw a video here on YouTube that showed how cool it was, so I wanted to take a look myself. And I noticed they were very few, next to no ads on the platform. And even though a lot of the content was in Chinese, I was able to follow along to a Procreate tutorial, there are lots of those there, by the way, on how to create an outline brush that I actually used for the golden details in this very painting that you're looking at. And if you've been online in the art community for a while, maybe for at least a year or two, you've probably noticed by now that the Korean and Chinese art community in particular tend to have a lot of extremely thoughtful and detailed educational content proliferating around online. So it doesn't really come to much of a surprise to notice that the same thing is prevalent on Xiaohongshu. However, I think that unless the cycle of exploitation is addressed more common and more frequently on these platforms, even apps like The Little Red Book are at risk to fall victim to the same issues. Because the moment something seems to grow in popularity these days, it will get the attention of opportunists who just want to make a profit. And I think it's just like how the scalping industry turned its eyes on GPUs when Bitcoin had another resurgence around 2019, 2020, and the NVIDIA 30 series was launched, and nobody could purchase one for MSRP for years. I think the same things happen at the corporate level as well. As soon as TikTok got really popular when the pandemic hit, every single major platform released their own version of short form content within the year, and they would promise giant pools of money to creators who invested new short form content onto their platform. But what actually happened was a wave of new creators just screenshotting, screen recording content and reposting it across platforms without any effort to get a slice of the pie, especially people who were just taking popular content from one platform and sharing it to another to avoid getting called out or banned for plagiarism. So suddenly you've got 10 million fake brands from Temu and AliExpress and the like sponsoring everyone and their mom to promote content on these platforms, and everything just became a shitty money grab that surpassed the quality original content that was previously made on these platforms with love and care for the end user. And to be honest with you, I don't really know of a good way to fix this problem. I do like being rewarded for what I do creatively, and I think YouTube videos has been one of the best and longest thriving examples of this. It's even survived a lot of major players in the TV and entertainment industry trying to take their own slice over the past few years. But the moment money becomes involved with any of these platforms and seems like an inevitable downfall, it honestly has made the saying, money is the root of all evil, seem a lot more believable, if you ask me. Ultimately, I think change in this area, change with all of these platforms and how they're handled, is going to require a lot of collective effort from creators and users alike to change the status quo and advocate for platforms to prioritize creativity and experience over profit. I want to end this video by identifying what I think the strongest value that platforms like TikTok have for the art community, because I don't really want them to go away. So I think that point is fellowship. It's always been a pretty lonely endeavor to be an artist. We're kind of few and far between, and we're only recently connected with the prevalence of the internet with standout websites like DeviantArt from 25 years ago. Fast forward several years from the year 2000, TikTok in particular, to me, it feels the most similar to how DeviantArt felt back in the day. It's full of beginner to intermediate artists who are sharing their work, their experiences, and their struggles. And you've got thousands of people weighing in to share and express their own thoughts via their comments, response videos, and likes. It's so easy to honestly create a For You page filled with never-ending art content from creators that are just like you, who are trying to get by or even teach you something. I think one of the best things about it is that as soon as someone shares a discovery or breakthrough that they made, they can share it with the world and get rewarded for it. Just like how I started my channel here, but in a much more accessible way. But with the churn and burn AI content and the endlessly sponsored content out there and rampant bot activity, I think this critical need that the art community has is getting overlooked. So I hope that by pointing it out, it will help stabilize it in some way, because again, I don't want it to go away. I think it would be very bad. I hope that we can all appreciate it enough to take care of it more so that we don't continue to take it for granted until it disappears and something chaotic happens. The illustration that you watched me create in this video is of Mel Medarda from Arcane Season 2. I had a wonderful time working on it. I used Procreate in the beginning, and then I alternated between that and a combination of Photoshop, but mostly Rebel 7 Pro. I've never used it before, and it was really cool to be able to intuitively mix the colors and get really lifelike traditional textures in the painting. But on my iPad, I always use my Paperlike screen protector. I still use my M2 12.9-inch iPad Pro, by the way, and it was really helpful because it would have been a huge pain to go back and forth from the beautiful matte coating from my ZenSlab 16-inch display tablet to a slippery, glossy screen on the iPad. You can check out the Paperlike artist bundle that I use with the link in the description, and it helps a lot to support the channel. So that'll be it for me today. Let me know what your thoughts are on TikTok and how you experience fellowship, if at all, in the art community, and how you may have experienced it changed over the years. So with that being said, I'll see you in the next one. Take care, keep drawing, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.